The Inter-Eye assessments have a new look and feel from August 2024. This format is known as single-page application, or affectionately, SPA assessments. This format is similar to navigating through familiar websites and other software, so this new layout should be more user-friendly. The assessments look quite different, so we have prepared this video to show you how to navigate the new look. In terms of the layout of Momentum, no changes have been made to how you locate and add new assessments. Simply navigate to MDS in the ribbon menu on the overview page. Click on the New button. Select the assessment type you are wanting to complete. In this example, we have selected an LTCF assessment. The assessment will load. This may take a moment and may look like nothing's happening, but just be patient. When the assessment opens, you will see the primary reason for assessment, assessment reference date, and research consent items only. In the SPA format, it uses these three items to determine which parts of the assessment you need to complete. Choose your primary reason for assessment, select your assessment reference date. You can either type the date in or use the calendar picker on the right-hand side. Answer the planning and research consent item. Once these three items are answered, the rest of the assessments will generate. Again, this may take a few moments, so be patient. On the left side of the screen, all of the assessment sections will now be visible and colored orange. Orange means that this section is still in draft. The caps and outcome scores are at the bottom, and we will look at these more closely soon. There are two ways to navigate in the assessment. You can scroll from top to bottom through all the sections, and you'll notice that each section has a header. And this remains at the top of the screen so you can clearly see which section you are working in. In this example, I'm in section B, and as I scroll down into section C, the header is replaced. The other way to navigate is to use the piano keys on the left-hand side. These will take you to that specific section of the assessment. There are 5 buttons at the top of the assessment. Save. Saves the assessment as a draft. When complete, a message will flash up to indicate this. Complete. The overall final mark complete of the assessment. Check errors and clear errors, which we will show later. Outputs, which we will also show later. Now we will look at how you mark a section complete. I'm going to go down to the continent section, add in the coding for all my items, and then I'm going back up to the section banner. There are 2 buttons here, check errors, which we will look at later, and mark complete. Click on the mark complete button and this will save the section, and the piano key for the continent section changes to green. We have used the LTCF assessments as our example here, but the information applies to all SPA assessments. For coding items in the assessment, we have a few visual changes we would like to point out for you. For example, we still have the familiar radio buttons, and as you can see here in section G1J, you can click on your selected coding and the radio button next to your chosen option is filled. We also have bar button options for some questions as demonstrated here. By clicking on the bar, it will highlight as your selection for that item. The data entry items remain the same for the most part and require you to enter a relevant value, which is the same as you are used to as seen here. In the new SPA, you will also note that each coding item has a small eye icon to the right of the item. This is where you'll be getting your coding help. This is in replacement of the section help process, where you would have to scroll through the entire document to find the information you needed. When you click on this, it will provide a pop-up box with an intent, process, and coding help for that specific item. Alongside this, to the right of the item, you will now also find the comments box icon. This is another change as it was previously to the left of the coding item. You will note that there is now a comments function for each item, and when you click on the icon, a text field for comments is displayed beneath the coding item. You can then add any relevant notes, and as you are used to, the comments icon will change to yellow. By clicking on the icon again, you can collapse the view of the comments text field and it will disappear from view as seen here. When a comment is removed, the icon returns to being white. When you enter your coding for an item, you should see a green validation to the right corner of the coded item next to the item help and comment icons. If you unclick the coded item, the validation will change to a red cross as you can see here, and it will also flag you to beneath the coding item, "This field is required," to indicate to you that this item still needs to be coded. To change a coded item, simply click on one of the other options. And then to remove the coding, click on the selection again to take it away and leave the question blank. The assessments will hide items or sections that don't need to be answered based on the coding of a previous item. An example from the LTCF and home care assessments is C1. If your person being assessed is in a coma and has no discernible consciousness, a code of 5 means skipping sections D, E, and F and going straight to section G. In the new SPA, if you code C1 as 5, the software automatically collapses your view of those 3 unneeded sections. You can see when 1 is coded, sections D, E, and F are visible, and then when 5 is coded, sections D, E, and F, and the rest of section C's questions are no longer visible, and the single page application will allow you to scroll straight from C1 to section G as seen here. After coding C1 as 5, you can mark complete the entire section as the remaining section C questions are no longer in view and not required to be completed. Now we are going to look at how you check for errors in the assessment. These validations only tell you if you haven't answered an item that is mandatory. You still need to run the data consistency report to check that your coding is consistent through the assessment. First, I'm going to check the coding in a single section. As you can see, there is no coding entered here in section H. Click on Check Errors in the section banner. Errors and warnings pop up and tells me the item number where coding is still needed. Click on OK to dismiss the pop-up and then enter the missing coding. You will see here a yellow banner has appeared in the top of the assessment. This means that you are in Check Errors mode. This is cleared by clicking on the Clear Errors button in the section banner or at the top of the assessment. I'm going to code a couple of these items and you'll see the red validation crosses have changed to green. Now that I've completed that, I'm going to check my errors again in the section. Errors and warnings pop up and tells me the items that still needs to be coded. Click on OK to dismiss the pop-up. You see the yellow banner has appeared again, and in the top of the assessment, this means that you are back in Check Errors mode. You will only see the items in that section that still need to be coded. To get back to seeing all the items in the section, click on Clear Errors in the section banner or at the top of the assessment. You can also check errors for the whole assessment. Click on Check Errors in the toolbar at the top of the assessment. This may take a few minutes to process. Errors and warnings pop up and shows the item numbers where coding is still needed. Note the scroll bar on the right to scroll down if there is a large number of warnings. Click on OK to dismiss the screen. Displayed on the screen are only the items in each section that have code needing to be entered. Sections that have no errors display the section banner only. The yellow banner signifying Check Error mode is at the top of the screen. To go back to the usual assessment and display all the coding, click on Clear Errors. It may take a moment to expand the assessment out again. There are 2 places to view the outcome scores and caps in your assessment, and both update in real time as you are entering your coding. First, there is a pop-up list that displays on the right-hand side of the screen when you click on the Outputs button. 2 options appear, one for caps and one for outcomes. Clicking on the caps button reveals the list of caps for this assessment, and you can scroll down the list. Click on the Caps button again to minimize it. Clicking on the Outcomes button reveals all the outcome scores for this assessment, and again you can scroll down the list. Click on the Outcomes button again to minimize it. Click on the X above the other two buttons to close the display. Outcomes and Caps are also viewed via the navigation menu on the left-hand side. Scroll down past the assessment sections, and there are piano keys for the assessment summary which show the Caps and outcome scales. We'll look at the outcomes first, and come back to the assessment summary. All of the outcome scales for the assessment are displayed, and you can scroll through the list. Each outcome scale has a Details button. For this example, I'm going to look at the Depression Rating Scale. If I click on the Details button, it shows me all the items from the assessment that contribute to that outcome scale. I can click on the Details button again to hide it. Another example showing the Cognitive Performance Scale. Now to look at the Assessment Summary Caps. Click on the Assessment Summary Caps button. All of the caps are listed, and triggered caps will be highlighted in yellow. We have a Details button, and the Addressed in Care Plan tick box, and an Assessment Summary comment box. Similar to the outcome scales, when I click on the details, I get a list of all the items that contribute to that cap and what has been coded in the assessment for that item. Click on the Details button again to minimize it. When completing the assessment, I can see what I have coded, decide if it's going to be addressed in the care plan, and add my summary comments. Finally, I'm going to mark my assessment complete. I go to the Complete button at the top of the assessment screen. I'll get a pop-up message that the form is saving, and another when it has saved. Then if I go back to the list of assessments under MDS, I can see that my assessment is now complete. Assessment items and comments are still separate documents. To convert the assessment items and coding to a PDF for printing or saving, go to MDS in the ribbon menu. Open the assessment. Click on the Print button above the navigation panel. This may take a few moments to open. Use the download or print icons as needed. To go back, click on Return. Comments don't print with the assessment items. A PDF of the comments in the assessment is accessed in the same way as it was previously. Go to MDS in the ribbon menu, expand the MDS section of the left-hand side menu, click on the assessment comments you'd like to convert, click on Print MDS Comments. Thank you for watching this introduction to the new assessment format. Please email us at interai@tas.health.nz if you need more help.